Well, hello, my loves. Another month has flown by and it is time for our April plan with me. I don't know how time is flying by so freaking fast because I sure as hell am gonna miss my March bullet journal theme. I actually switched over from drawing to junk journaling halfway through my bullet journal theme from last month, and that kind of inspired my theme for April, among other things. So aside from like getting glue all over my fingers, I'm pretty excited about, April, so let's get into it. Alright everybody, let's get started on the April cover page. So I am, I don't know if you already can tell by now, so I am not drawing out my theme for April. I am going with the junk journaling collaging type of vibe. So I actually did junk journaling as my theme for April of 2021 last year, and that was actually the first time I explored junk journaling as a form of bullet journaling. And then as time went on, I kind of got sick of just pulling out 1,000 different pieces of paper in order to junk journal, so I just began drawing again. But I just got in that mood of wanting to stick pieces of paper on other pieces of paper, and so I thought, hey, maybe I can make this kind of a April tradition where every April I dive right back into junk journaling. And I don't know if I'm gonna continue to do this throughout the rest of the year or not, but I'm gonna just go with it, take a day at a time or a month at a time, and then see what happens. I was actually having a difficult time coming up with what I should talk about in this voiceover, because I don't know if you could already tell or not, but I'm not a very structured instructor where I'm gonna be able to give you tips on the technical side of creativity. I am more the type of creator where I focus very heavily on what inspires me, what my thoughts and feelings are as I am creating something. Sometimes I feel like there's this expectation where if you are a creator and you have an audience where you need to share a set of information to, you need to have all of the facts or the technicalities, or for example, if I'm bullet journaling, right, I need to be able to give you a history lesson in how bullet journaling was invented and what other forms of bullet journaling there is out there. So I'm not saying those things are not important, but I think one of the beautiful things about being on YouTube or any space where there are a bunch of creators is that we all have our unique talents and gifts and interests and curiosity that we personally get to explore and then share with the world. And I would say that my strong suit is to express and articulate the more personal, internal side of creativity rather than the external and technical side of it. And what I mean by external and internal is in external, I'm and these aren't real definitions, I'm just kind of trying to articulate it by myself. But what I mean by external would be something talking about color theory or composition, things like that. And then by internal, I mean exactly kind of what I've said before, what inspires me, my thought process behind it, and being, more self-attuned to your creativity. And I just feel we don't really hear a lot of people talking about that side of it. I think that there are definitely a lot more creators out there like that now today. But when I was growing up, when I was looking up at artists, I mean, at least this is just my experience, maybe yours is different, but I got technically skilled. I reached that point where I felt okay, I can replicate pieces where I feel it looks pretty much the same. But no one was telling me or teaching me how to create artwork where I was able to express myself authentically. I think there is a very spiritual element to that type of instruction, and it requires a lot of reflection and being able to, again, articulate what it is you are trying to express. So I focus more on the internal side of things, mainly because that is the side where I needed the most improvement. For other people, that part came kind of naturally, and what they needed help with was the more technical side. I always go back to this quote, and it goes something like this. I'm probably gonna butcher it, but it goes like this. I always write the things that I need to hear, and I teach the things that I need to learn. So a lot of the things that I talk about and write about and say out loud are just things that I am myself trying to grasp. So I just feel I kind of had to explain that a little bit just because like I get anxiety every time I have to do a voiceover because I'm not as prepared on the more technical side of things. And I know I keep saying that word, but like I don't know how else to explain it because it's the technical side. So I know I already took up about 5 minutes of this voiceover to explain why I was confused about how I can't do this voiceover the way I think I should be doing it. So the rest of this voiceover will be me trying to talk about my junk journaling for this theme as best I can. We already finished the cover page and the quote page, which the quote on my quote page was, "We forgot how to know when we learned how to please." And I'm pretty sure I used this quote before in one of my old bullet journal themes. It's by Glennon Doyle, and it's just something that I read again recently and I kind of forgot about it, and then it kind of resonated with me again, so I was re-inspired and decided to use it again. Now we are working on the monthly calendar page, which is mainly on the right side, and then the left side I left these open spaces where like, you know, I have 2 frames there, and then I also have that notebook paper on the left side. I left those open spaces for like, you know, content creation lists, to-do lists, and a reflection like section. I'm not gonna like title them out just because I don't know where I want to put what yet, and I'm not creating a brain dump page this month because I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed on like just bullet journaling altogether, and so I tried to make that process as easy and convenient for me as possible, even though there is literally nothing easy or convenient about junk journaling because your entire room will be a mess after each session. Something that I'm absolutely obsessed with and inspired to create from are these frames and these open frame cutout die cut things where like the center is cut out, which I just used an X-Acto knife to cut it out. But I also really love like those window die cuts that you see other people junk journaling, and I don't know if you've seen them, but I just think they're absolutely beautiful. And I actually did want my April theme to be revolved around those window die cuts, but I did not have any prepared. I want to actually create my own and then have that be a product available in my shop. So that might be my theme for next month, but let's see. I've also been completely obsessed with fabrics and textures and different organic materials, so you will see them laced throughout this entire bullet journal theme. It's actually made my bullet journal extremely chunky. It doesn't close all the way, that's for sure, and it has made it a little bit difficult to draw in and layer in just because it is so chunky and I'm not really writing or layering on like a flat surface. But I absolutely love that because it just gives this homey, cozy, lived-in vibe that honestly I'm just desperately craving like all the time. So you may see that we are working on the first weekly for April, and you may or may not have noticed that I completely skipped the habit and mood tracker page, and that's because I completely forgot to create it. So that is going to be the last page we're going to work on after creating this weekly. So if you are in my Patreon community, you may have noticed that my last weekly for March included basically the rest of the days of the week. So it wasn't just 7 days, it was I think 11. So I always get confused which month I should put the last weekly spread. Like, should I put it in the month that I'm like working on right now, or should I put it in the following month? And if you're a bullet journaler, you'd know this dilemma. So I decided instead of making that weekly, you know, a part of just one of the month, I decided to just split that weekly up and make it a part of both months, if that makes sense. So like the last weekly for March had 11 boxes, like I think I already said, and then the first weekly of April is gonna have a total of 9 boxes because I included the first 2 days of April within the first weekly for April. This type of layout works for me because the way my life is structured and my work and whatever, my projects and my deadlines are kind of like on a monthly basis rather than weekly. So that's just one idea if you kind of struggle with that same like indecision on where to put your weekly. It's kind of the same idea of like having a Dutch door so that you have the ability of having multiple weeks within one layout, which I am definitely loving right now because I don't have to bullet journal as often. It's a lot more convenient and less time consuming, and I can still get in my dose of creativity and my planning needs met. So I know I'm going to get a ton of questions on where I am getting my stickers and my junk journaling supplies and my patterned paper and my paper doilies and all that. So really quickly, most of my stickers are from my own stationery shop, which you can find every link in the description for. And a lot of the ephemera and the frames that I am using for this bullet journal theme are things that I have printed out myself or created myself for my Patreon community for the highest tier, which is now discontinued. It was the $50 tier. It was like flip folders. It's discontinued now. So I will be working on these products for my Etsy shop in the future. So just look out for those. I do include ephemera in all of my other tiers as well, just as, you know, extra freebies and occasional goodies, but it's not like a official benefit as of right now. And then everything else I'm using is from different stationery shops, art stores. Like some of this stuff is from Paper World shop, some of it is from Washi Tape shop, and other things are from either Amazon or AliExpress. Like my paper doilies are definitely from Amazon. Some of these paper packs are just from old books that I found at a thrift shop, and then other paper patterns are from local art stores like Hobby Lobby, Michael's, and Joann's. I did create a new benefit for my Patreon members, so basically every single month I will be uploading junk journaling printables, like 2 or 3 different types of printables that you could of course print out at home and use for your own junk journaling. This month I uploaded various different postcards. Last month I uploaded frames, and I'm either designing them by myself or I have a, you know, image subscription with Adobe or Shutterstock that, you know, you can use for your personal use. This isn't like to resell unless I explicitly say that it is. Or other junk journaling materials that I scoured and searched the internet for that other people created that said that it was completely okay to share with other people. I'm basically just doing the work for you because I am already on the search to find these things anyways. Alrighty, let's move on to the habit and mood tracker page. I will say I had the most difficult time coming up with how to structure this page, and I did take inspiration from my April theme of last year. I have to say, I'm not too happy with the way this page turned out, but at this point I'm just like, you know what? I got it done. It functions the way it's supposed to. I can't have it all the freaking time. The paper that I'm actually sticking on right now is from my watercolor bullet journal by the Mellow Days. I actually did a review on their bullet journal, but I just completely forgot about this textured paper that also has bullets on it, and I remembered like last minute, and I was like, oh my god, this is like perfect to add in this junk journaling theme because I am loving textures right now. I'm also loving patterns that are just script, so just cursive or handwriting or Times New Roman. This entire page was inspired by that idea, so the only patterned paper I'm using is script, along with paper doilies and frames, of course. I just love how different writing styles tell a different story. I love that I can combine them all together depending on like the colors and the material or textures. You know, you can get a very vintage vibe or you can get a modern vibe, and I think this page is kind of a combination of both in a way. The habits and moods that I'm tracking are pretty much the same as every month that I've done so far this year. I actually really do not like the fact that I forgot to do my habit and mood tracker page, and that my first weekly is now not gonna be in consecutive order with all of my other weeklies for April. It's bothering me not only because my pages are not structured in the way I want them to be, but also because my entire tab system is messed up now. The number of pages I counted was like incorrect, so the length of my tabs are now also incorrect. I'm honestly gonna have to figure out a way to make it work. Maybe, you know, combine multiple pages or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But I know this is just like my perfectionism coming out, because honestly, I have been so hard on myself. I've been beating up myself so much these last couple of months, and I know that this is just like a symptom of working myself to death. Like I've just been burning myself out month after month. And now that I've taken some things off my plate, I'm kind of like, all those feelings that I kind of shut down the last couple of months are just resurfacing, and my body and mind are kind of like going into like overdrive of feelings where I'm just like crying like all the time. And sometimes like when I'm in a very emotional state, it's very difficult to have self-compassion. My societal conditioning kind of comes out and it says, oh, something must be wrong with you if you're feeling this much this many days in a row or like this often, which is obviously not true. And so I realized, so sure, yes, I might move a little bit ahead on my timeline if I am overworking myself with sheer willpower, but at what price? My sanity? And also, if we're constantly living in this idea of like, oh, I want more, and more is just never going to be enough. So why do I want more, and why am I working so hard to want more when like more is never going to be enough? It's because I think that that is what's going to make me feel like I'm enough, even though this whole thing started because I didn't feel like I'm enough. And of course, there's like literally nothing wrong with wanting more. Like, I want more, right? We all want more. But when it becomes a problem, it's when we literally start sacrificing ourselves for the idea of more, which is honestly the whole entire purpose of a capitalistic society. And it's actually a little depressing to think about that, like, in order to become financially secure these days, you either have to give up and sacrifice a lot of your comfort and humanity, unless you like already come from wealth, status, or power. And so yes, it's depressing because it's also a little bit out of our control, but at the same time, like, knowing that is relieving in and of itself, because like, I know that now I am not the problem, and instead of becoming a victim to it, I can, embrace who I really am and live by that. And how do we embrace who we are? Well, I think we start by appreciating the mistakes we make, like putting our weeklies before our habit and mood tracker page. Well, I hope this video was insightful for you in some way or another. And before you go, I do have a quick announcement to make. I actually added a few new products to my Etsy shop, along with a design for Ukraine. All proceeds from the sticker and art print that I designed specifically for Ukraine are going to go to the people in crisis because of the war, regardless of skin color. I am donating through Trevor Noah, who I think has a clear understanding of everything that is going on and all of the racism that is happening. If this is something you believe in and it's something that you would like to support, the links for all of it will be down below. Thank you to all of the people who have supported so far. That is all I have for today. I will see you all in the next one. Have a great day, and if no one told you they loved you, I love you so very much.